Everybody, welcome back to the Bill Caskey podcast. We are talking today with a very special guest, Jason Leister, who you've probably heard him on before. It's been a couple of years, and I always like to have fascinating people on repeatedly. Not so often you get tired of them, or I get tired of them, or better, they get tired of me. But because I think people shift and people change, and you've probably witnessed that from some of my content, as there's been some subtle shifts. And when I read Jason's newsletter, there's some subtle shifts. And we're going to go down a path today on the individual. And since that's where we all begin, before we are representatives of companies and salespeople and marketing people and VPs of sales, we are first humans. And so we're going to go down a path today. I hope you enjoy it. My conversation with Jason Leister. So welcome to Jason. And as I said in my pre-roll there, you and I have chatted several times over the years, and I've been a part of some of your programming, and I've always enjoyed the stuff you do. Give our audience a minute on who you are and what you do, and then we'll talk more about this topic of how do we be a better individual in the business world.
Sure. I usually refer to myself as a recovering musician. I started life as a pipe organ major in college and found out while it's a great artistic pursuit, not so great at putting food on the table. I also realized that I was psychologically unemployable, which made doing that thing in a job setting, I just had an allergic reaction to that kind of a structure. So I eventually found my way to marketing, which is what I do. I help people sell what they've got, whether it's a $200,000 training or themselves at a much smaller price point, selling themselves to the world. And I've developed, I don't really know that I've developed them. It's just like what I came to do. I can figure out what somebody wants, the market. I can see somebody's strengths and abilities. And it's very easy for me to kind of pick what version of the truth to tell the world about whatever I'm talking about. And I found that that's a financially rewarding thing to do for people. Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. That's what I've been doing for the past 20 years.
Because, I've and if you want to get on Jason's email newsletter, which I wouldn't even call it a newsletter. It's a powerful email that he sends out every day. Go to jasonleister.co. If you're watching on video, you'll see it there on the lower right. If you're not, Jason Leister, Leister. We'll put it in the show notes, but I fully urge you, because I've sent that to a lot of people over the years, and about every other time I send it, I get back, wow. He's wow.
I do have some pretty great subscribers. I think that started in 2011, and a fair amount of people have been there from the beginning still.
Well, the thing I like about your work, Jason, is you talk about things that are slightly beneath the surface that most people are either unaware of or are fearful about bringing up. And I like that, because that's the beauty of our business too, is I don't have a corporate, I don't have to, if I'm a Dale Carnegie rep, I can't go out and teach anything Dale didn't teach. Yeah. I don't have that the confines of that. So I like what you're doing. So when we got on the call today, and usually I have an idea of what I want to talk to a guest about, but I asked Jason, I said, what are you really excited about right now? Let's go down that path rather than me coming up with some weird questions. And the thing you said was the individual. The individual is at the crux of all of our world, all of our business. We can get our business right, but if we're not right, we're not going to be happy, or we're not going to be fulfilled, and we're probably not going to be very good at it. So tell me why you have gone down this path, and I know you've been down there for a while, of just paying attention to who we are, how we are. Just go riff with it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I was raised as like a straight A sheep. So I followed the rules. I did what I was told. If there was a rule, I wanted to know about it so I could do it and excel at it and get that little pat on the head. And the problem started then when I took that approach into the world of business, where I found out that's a great way to get killed really fast. And so that began a path of discovery about who I wanted to be. Like, I've been so many people on this stage over the years. And after a while, it got really tiring because while I popped around and did it a little more like this guy, or then moved into approaching it a little more like this guy, the only guy I didn't get around to was the actual me, which is hilarious, but it's pretty easy in the world that we live in to do that.
Very easy.
I mean, virtually everything we experience leads us in that direction.
Yeah.
They don't ask you who you want to be when you grow up. They ask you what you want to do.
Yeah.
And the answer is so obvious. Like, you want to be you. Like, if our kids said that from the beginning, just imagine all of the detours that you could avoid, all of that stuff that now requires therapy or whatever modality you choose to aim at it to like unravel and decrypt for yourself so that you can just go in the direction that you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And so that became my quest in business. Like we were talking about before we got on the phone, at first I felt like a schizo like person because I had more than one priority in my brain. Again, I didn't realize it was about being me. So I was like, if I'm more like this guy, that leads to more sales. If I'm more like this guy, that leads to me being able to sleep at night. And I really, for the longest time, didn't see how I could bring these two worlds together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I had to choose. I had to get the money, and then that earned me the privilege of focusing on the stuff that I thought was quote unquote real. And so my work really has been in public. Like I call my newsletter self-therapy. It's like the best thing I've ever done because I have to work it out. Like you can't just sit there and write every day for 11 years if you have no idea what you're about.
If you're not working anything out. Yeah, right.
That's right. And so I'm doing that in public.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because you get to see the reflection and you're like, is that what they think? Is that what they saw? Is that what I'm doing? Is that what I stand for? And like, so all of this clarity happens from the constant iteration. So that has been a lifesaver for me because before that, my alternative was like looking at the wall and thinking myself in circles.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've ever had your own business, you've probably done this. Great idea, goes to a couple steps of implementation. Maybe you meet with some little obstacle or something about that excitement starts to wane. You're like, maybe this isn't such a great idea.
Yeah, that's right.
And before you've done anything, you're like done and you start over.
That's right. I do that a lot. I'll put the foot on the accelerator and then I'll get about halfway down the road and think, is this really what I want to do? And then I'll slam on the brake and turn around and come back to start finish line. And it's a lot of unfinished projects. And also, I think we do this a lot when we have an idea and we actually run with it and we produce something and we create something. And then a year or two later, we think, I'm burned out on that. And to me, that comes from exactly what you're talking about is not being aware of the who you are while you're doing this thing. And even VPs of sales and sales leaders like, okay, 2026 right around the corner, Jason, what do you want to have by the end of next year? Well, I want to have my income double and I want to have 17 new customers. I want to have a vacation home in Hawaii. Okay, great. Well, here's what you need to do. You need to make 27 calls a day. It becomes very formulaic. We never ask the question, who are you that you want this? What is it about this thing that you say you want that fulfills you as a human being? We never ask that question.
And I had to ask that because none of those formulas ever led me to any results.
That's true.
How many times have I done the write down how many hours you want to work, write down how much you want to make, then do the math. Like this is not a math equation is what I have discovered.
Yeah.
This is like a human equation. And if you can get clear on who you are and what you're about, decision-making becomes easy. Like I said before we started recording, I don't want employees. I don't want team members. Like, it's not why I'm here. I do want a lot of money. So right there, you have this constraint that you've interjected into the conversation that actually makes my decisions easier. Right? If I want that result, but I'm not willing to do these things, then I have to be creative.
Yeah.
So my whole journey in marketing, and this is what I do. I didn't realize this is what I was doing for the people I work with, but it's hardest to do it for yourself, right? That's why I'm doing it out loud. It's easy for me to do this for somebody else.
So when you say do it for somebody else and somebody comes to you, they call you and say, hey, you know what, I'm struggling in my business, or I just feel like I'm half fulfilled all the time. I think I need some help. What would be what's the process? I don't want you to give away any kind of magic potion, but just what's the process?
It looks like magic. I don't think it's magic. I think it's just energy that we can't explain. But I would say my stupid human trick is to be able to figure out what somebody is about really quickly with their help. It's not like I get a download from the heavens. It's that I shoot things at you and you bounce them back. And then I forget, was it Michelangelo or Da Vinci? You can like see the angel in the block of marble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what everything that's not the angel. Yeah.
That's right. That's what I can do. And then I start asking more questions about, what do you want? What gives you energy? What leaves you better off after you do it than before? And we slowly start to piece this picture together. And what am I looking for? Like in the work that I do, I'm looking for the truth to present in an attractive way to the world about you or your business or what you're selling. Mm-hmm. Mm. So,
but don't we typically start with that when we go down this path? Like if I want to build my personal brand, I probably wouldn't spend, I mean, it's wrong, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time on the who am I. I'd spend more time on, okay, what's the picture look like and what's the content and, what's the backdrop, which are the wrong things, but it's just where we go by default almost.
Yeah, I think everything in the matrix is about the outside in. That's what we learn in school. That's what we learn when we're trying to get picked for a job. Does anybody, I'm trying to think, I haven't had many jobs before I realized I was terrible at them, but I don't feel like I was ever asked, who are you? I certainly would have had a terrible answer.
Probably no.
So maybe that's why they don't ask you.
You probably didn't know at that point.
Yeah, I have no idea. But these days, to me, that's like all that matters because everything is an extension of that.
Yeah.
So like I'm here to give people direction. I know that because that's what I do. That's easy for me. And so the last 20 years are about how do I turn that into the most wins for everybody, including me?
Yeah.
And you've been on the receiving end of all those experiments of what that looks like. But I always keep coming back to the same kernel. Like I have a couple assumptions that I have made that, again, put constraints artificially by design, on purpose into my world. So number one, I've got to be of service. Like karmically inside my heart, I know that the right way is to leave the world better than I found it. And that I want to win that way. Yep. Right. So that's assumption number one. Assumption number two, like everybody shows up with something unique to offer. Right. If you don't know what that is, then discover it. It's in there. Number three, there are almost unlimited number of ways to offer that to the world. So you've got to find the one they want. So we think that if we show up in front of a crowd and like if I showed up in front of a crowd and said, you have got to eat these cookies. These are the best cookies in the world. I know exactly what would happen because I've tried it. I would be invisible. The whole crowd would continue talking and pretending that nothing had happened and they wouldn't even have heard that.
Yeah.
I have learned this, which is why I do everything the way I do. Everybody comes to me. Like that's not manipulation. That's the only way I get to eat.
No.
So I have learned over the years the best way to show up so that I'm real to me. It's really me. Like nothing I say in any of those emails is faking it.
No.
But there are a lot of ways to package the truth. And to me, that's what business is about. It's taking the truth of what you have, whether it's you, your product, or your service that you're selling, and figuring out the best version of that to present to the world so that the existing demand that they have, the existing desires, it becomes obvious to them that your thing is the vehicle to make those real.
That's right. And the first challenge there is really understanding what it is what are you about? The packaging of what that is a little bit easier, but it's not inconsequential because I can let's say my noble purpose in life and in business is to really help people grow. I think we're all operating, and this is true, I think we're all operating at a fraction of our potential. And the answer typically is, well, work harder, put in more hours. And I don't think that's the right answer. I don't imagine you do either. So if I'm going to go down that path with somebody, I've got to package that message in a way that doesn't cause them to say, man, this guy's full of crap, but says, well, I kind of agree with that. Let's see what else he has. And so it's both the who are you and what are you about, and how do you package that? And then, of course, at some point, you got to have an offer. You got to have something to put on your checkout page.
I've done martial arts. I did it for over 10 years, 3rd degree black belt. I don't say that so that you're impressed. I say that so you know the amount of pain I've endured to learn the lessons. And one lesson that I have learned is it's not about working harder. It's about precision, right? Because the teacher that I studied with could kill you in 2 seconds flat, not because of the size of his muscles, because he knew exactly what to do in those 2 seconds, And when you go out there with the wrong package, which I've done so many times.
We all have. Yeah.
Like if I present my services to a massage therapist, I'm going to starve. If I do the exact same work for someone who's selling a $200,000 course like I've done, he has a good chance of walking away with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Now, in one scenario, I feel like I'm worthless. In the other one, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm the exact same person doing the exact same thing, different packages.
Yeah.
So that's how much impact I discovered the story you choose to tell the world makes. And that's the problem. There are so many stories. And that's really behind so many of my changes over the years. I'm in the middle of one now. It's like, wait a minute. If I can do work that generates for my family like $1,000 to $3,000 an hour, why am I messing around with anything else?
Right.
Why really, you could say, why am I being such a poor steward of that gift by aiming it in the wrong places? And so that then brings up another quality that the Matrix also doesn't foster in us, which is the art of rejecting that which is not right for you. Unheard of in school. So we spend 12, 16 years practicing not doing that. And then you get out there and you want to design a life that you actually want to live, but 99% of the work is keeping the wrong stuff out.
That's right.
So there's another lesson you have to learn.
Yeah. And I see that a lot in my work with when I go in and work with sales teams. Is there's a lot of this, well, it's not our ideal client, but I need my quota and I got a quota to hit. And if I went to my manager and said, I'm going to pass on this, he'd say, well, no, you're not going to pass. We'll send it to somebody else. We'll send it to an intern. And yet most times we just don't go to our manager. We just say, well, I know this is $100 an hour activity and I'm a $2,000 an hour guy, but I kind of have to do it. But you don't have to do it. It's that schooling and it's those tapes that we have in our mind.
Well, and it's developing the capacity to deal with that fear that immediately comes up from just stepping to the left or stepping to the right or daring to challenge somebody's opinion, especially the people who are paying you, I've worked with clients for a long time. Some of the services I publish are about that. Like there's a lot going on there that you need to sort out if you don't want to get your head chopped off in that type of a relationship. It could be boss, it could be client, whatever. And like, that's a lot. It's a lot to work through, and emotionally, like it's not a head thing. It's like a feeling thing,? And so if you get that immediate hit of fear that if I say that to him, he's going to walk away, like that triggers all these programs we've got that don't match with reality. Like in a client and provider relationship, if you've ever worked for anybody in that relationship, what that means is someone values what you do more than they value their money. Do we ever feel like that? No.
No.
We feel that they have the money, they make the rules.
Yeah.
So like there's so much of this garbage going on, and that's why I am about the individual, because I had so much to sort out. to like actually be the real me. And I liked doing that. I saw the effects of doing that. I'm the best place to invest in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I've done.
And I think that, you're doing this in the, email that you send out. A person doesn't have to have an email that they send out when they work through this stuff. The nature of your business is people like that, and people come to you because you're willing to, wear everything on the sleeve.
And I know that I'm here to transmit ideas to other people based on my experience.
That's right.
Like I've discovered that.
Yeah. Yeah. But for the average person who's listening to this and says, you know what, I don't know if I want to work that stuff out in public, you still, at some point, you got to work it out. And I think writing or speaking, I've always told people to just put, if you're struggling with something, put it on your iPhone. I went through, it's probably 6 months ago, a really difficult time. And I have no idea. It wasn't like anybody died or anybody was born. It was just one of those seasons. I hate that word. But anyway, one of those seasons where I just was down for like a month. And after I realized that I was not at my beautiful self, I started to record a diary every day. I called it Bill's Chronicles. And it's amazing, after just a few days of that, I started to get past it. And I would share things on this that I would be embarrassed if anybody heard. In fact, I've deleted them, but I would go back and listen to them. And it was almost like a way to separate myself from the issues I was having and allow me to stand up within those issues and move on and move past them and not carry them around with me. And
I think that most people have no idea that they are playing the leading character in a movie that they direct that part of them is also watching.
Mm-hmm.
I spent half of my life not knowing any of that. So I was so caught up in my head being the character that I thought that was all there was.
No direction.
Right?
No
which is most people. That's when you feel like the world is happening to you.
That's right.
Because you don't quite understand your role and how all this stuff is happening. And if you live in your head 100% of the time, it's almost impossible to get out of that.
Yeah.
So what the practice that you just described there got you a little separation between you and the part that's aware of you,
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. Like you start to see things differently. You start to see, you watch your character.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like writing my stuff. I look back there and I'm like, who the hell was this dude? How clueless was he just not like 6 months ago?
Yeah, right.
So it's an extremely valuable practice for anybody who wants to be a better version of themselves to figure out. I mean, really all you have to do is decide the solutions to my problems aren't here. So where else are they? And how do I get there?
Yeah.
And how can I start making some changes?
Yeah. We're talking with Jason Leister today. You can find out more about him at Jason Leister, Leister. I should ask you how to pronounce your name. Is it Leister?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Leister.
JasonLeister.co. We'll put it in the show notes. And I recommend, I know it's hard sometimes when you hear a podcast like this where we're talking about some fairly esoteric things to say, okay, what's my action here? I think your number one action is to go subscribe to Jason's newsletter. And
that would be awesome.
After 5 to 10 of those, and read them every day. They're short, they're 2 or 3 minutes, but every day you come away with, I never really thought about that. I never looked at that way. And that's what Jason, I think, is really good, is expanding perspective. And so I would suggest that's the first thing. Jason, I really appreciate you carving out some time today. And
Sure.
We'll do this again here sometime, and we won't let it be 2 years next time.
Very good. I'll be around. Thank you very much.
See you, Jason.
Bye-bye.